I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
Actually, he flips the conversation. He goes, "I've noticed a little thing between you and Brett."
What?
Nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
Nothing, nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
Ignore that roll. I was just seeing what my new dice looking thing looked like.
I want to know, does anyone know how to get it to not notify me of that in D&D Beyond? Because every time, like, there's like two of you, you roll and it shows up in D&D Beyond, and it's very annoying.
I think you have to go to settings and disable chat notifications.
Yeah, I have that disabled, so it's really weird that it still shows up.
Either that or it's called game log. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you might have to like lock the game log or something maybe. I've never actually tried to do it.
Mm.
All right. So, last session.
Mm.
A wonderful cluster.
Corn got an acidic kiss and a smack on the. He's wearing chapless now. He's wearing chaps now.
Though that may be a highlight for you, it did not make it into the recap because there was enough that went on that the recap does not include that. But nevertheless, last session. As the group put their plans into action and some left behind materials and items they didn't want to get water damaged, the glass raft was built, the owls summoned, and they were off. They hit some unexpected weather while traveling and delayed them a bit, making Nori use another casting to get the owls to ferry them across the water, but eventually they arrived, and the front half of the ship that seemed to be impaled by the rock beneath greeted them as they anchored. Exploring was done both above and below water, and the group came to realize that this was a massive ship graveyard, seemingly from multiple different parts of the world and placed here in a very specific pattern. As the group were getting ready to settle down for a long rest, Richard was on the front of the ship with the figurehead of the Felnshara. As he was moving it around, trying to put it back into place to be a perch for him, he got it back to its original position, and the damned thing came to life. The front half of the ship careened off into the water, and water spouts started shooting out of the water all around himself and the rest of the group that were now in the front half of the ship. As the group was left in awe and Racha now deep in the drink, people started slowly materializing before them. Everyone met back on the top of the deck, all taking up different items and things to blend in with the now formed crew of the ship, and Saren took the opportunity to go invisible and sneak into the captain's quarters. Whilst in there, he cast Knock, giving away his position, and the first mate and taskmaster rushed to the captain's quarters whilst the rest of the crew and group rushed to the front of the ship. After some sneaky games of hide and seek, a female archfey, seemingly under the control of the taskmaster, was brought into the captain's quarters to try and find out who snuck in, since Saren was invisible once again. After some quick decisions, Saren was found out and attacked by the taskmaster. The archfey took this single moment to cast a spell, and a bright light encompassed all of the quarters, and Saren woke to find himself in a forest, with the archfey standing above him. And that's where we resume. For everyone else who is on top of the ship, you guys see the blinding even, white light exude from the captain's quarters. The Minotaur Minotaur first mate at the doorway, standing guard, get blasted back about 10 feet, kind of skidding across the top of the deck before coming to a rest. You all feel the impact as this bright light happens as well, as the ship starts to rock from whatever seemingly has happened. Quiet hush falls upon the crew that you guys are around, and murmurs start to happen as the Minotaur slowly gets to his feet, a little shaky-legged and trying to shake off probably his one hell of a tinnitus headache. And he eventually stammers forward back into the captain's quarters.
Warren looks down at Nori and is like, "Do you think he's dead?"
I don't know. Is everyone just quiet?
People are starting to murmur and talk to themselves, but it's all pretty much the same. What happened? Who do you think it was? What was that? Like, should we go check? Should we wait here? It's just all kind of conspiratorial, like, rumor mill, as they are pretty much in the same boat as you guys are. They're not sure what the fuck happened. All they know is the Minotaur flew backwards.
Same boat. But
It's not a boat, it's a ship.
Warren's like, "Is there a way that we can check? Can you call out to Saren?"
I have to be able to see him in order to reach him with my mind, and I
And
can't
30
see
feet,
him.
right?
Yep, both. And we are much, much farther away.
About 80. Just from the doorway.
And Nori's not going to move because right now she's not risking anything. After the lightning and the flash of lights, like this isn't worth it. I don't want to die, and I don't want my friends to die.
Warren's like, not like nudges Bryn, and Richard's like, "I think we should get out of here."
As much as I think we should, I don't know if now is the greatest time since everybody is standing still. It might show that we are with him.
Yeah, we'll want to tread lightly.
That's because Warren is like the most grateful person in the group right now. All right, well, I can't see what's going on quite yet. Hopefully, I doubt it, but Saren might have survived, but we'll have to see.
Right now, it's just a matter of waiting until we can get out of here because we are way out of our depth.
As you guys are discussing, all of a sudden you see what looks to be a cloud. A very thick cloud or fog, you're not sure which it is, start to just pour out of the captain's quarters as the Minotaur starts running out coughing. As this kind of stretches out across the deck for about another 10 or so feet, it stands about 20 feet tall as this cloud just starts to encompass the top, and it's pouring out of back windows of the quartermaster of the captain's quarters at the same time. It stops expanding and sits there, now about 35 feet up from the deck up into the air, and roughly about 40 feet off each side of the ship itself. So altogether about 120 feet width-wise, about 40 feet tall. You then see coming out of this as the first mate Minotaur is just coughing up a lung on the side of the ship, just outside of this cloud. You see the Taskmaster walking his way out. The front half of his chest and chin, up to about where the nose slits are, is just charred. Looking like lightning itself crackled across its chest as burn marks are in interesting fashions, almost like looking like roots of a tree, just spiraling all across the front part of his chest all the way up to his face. And then you see it. Though he was an intimidating figure to begin with, something's different, not just the charm mark. As he comes stepping forward, clutching the lead and iron collar that was around the archfey when she was brought in, you now see what seems to be two hovering, flaming horns that creep off the back of his head. Hovering maybe about 3 inches off the top, with what seems to be a crown of fire right in betwixt them. These aren't horns like the tiefling you met. The horns are much more in line with the Baelor you guys dealt with, or the Balrog.
Oh, yay, fun.
He... intimidating figure though he was to begin with, now standing 2 feet taller than when you guys originally saw him. Black smoke seems to be pouring from his mouth as he's coming out of this fog. Same black smoke that this fog is made out of. And as he's looking at the crew, his eyes glow red. Slightly smoky, if you will. They seem to extend past his eye slits themselves. And a different voice than the ones you've all been hearing him speak, especially you, Kaporin, exudes from his mouth as he starts to talk to every one of the crew that is up here. And you guess that since he's talking so loud, he's talking to everyone. Interestingly enough, as he talks, you all can understand him at once. And it's interesting, it's not like he's speaking common. Whichever language you all feel the most comfortable speaking, ones you grew up with, your innate languages, those are the ones that are speaking through to you. Bryn, you've got tongues cast on you a couple times, so this gives you a slight feeling of that, but even so, this reaches further than tongues did. It's interesting, you've heard some of the Valkyrie language in the past, though it's not very widely taught. It's usually more for the scholars of the community that want to keep certain portions of it alive. You still... it's like he's speaking common to you, but every now and again you feel one of your runes light up as he says certain words, certain phrases. And luckily, with everything that you're wearing right now, majority of your runes are covered. But you can feel it. It's a slight warmth that happens. But he speaks. Whoever, whatever, is the culprit. Who helped that bitch? I will find you. And you will not be getting any trial. I can make sure of that. Your thievery, your betrayal, you will feel 1,000 times over. You will know pain beyond just your body. You will know what it's like to have portions of your soul ripped, attached, and ripped once more. For I have called upon my brothers. They are on their way. If you would like to save yourselves just a bit of pain, come forward now, and I promise to make at least this life end quickly. It'll save you at least a few years of pain. As for your soul, I can't make the same promise. Any takers?
When he was talking about whoever did this to help her and stuff, can Racha like look through the crowd to see if anybody reacts like they might have been the one that messed with her collar?
Go ahead and make a insight check. Looking back into the groups. Rashi, go and push your talk. Looking back into the group, the crew behind you and around you, you see that a large portion of the group, as soon as they see the visage of the Taskmaster in this way, all immediately started cowering. Though some of your group probably instinctually pulled back and cowered a little, it's actually a little obvious, Richaw, of your group not cowering as much as the rest of the crew. But looking at the crew while he's talking about this, you all, or Richaw, you notice that as he's talking, the more and more he's talking, and the way that this is like reading into you, Richaw, it's very weird. For your language specifically, the avian language. It comes across as like half common, half avian, and so even though you're looking into the crowd, you're kind of like getting piqued every now and again, wanting to look at him, like just for the sheer fact that you hardly hear this language to begin with, and it hits like really home for you guys. But for other people, that's because you're not sure where these people come from, but it seems like majority of them might have spent their entire lives on this ship, and the only time that they hear the language of where they came from is when something like this happens. So for the most of them, you're just seeing just terror. Some of them are starting to openly weep, but they're trying to stay quiet. It seems that though the situation is obscenely fucked for you guys particularly, the fuckery seems to also spread, and the rest of this group, this crew, is just mortified. And at least for the crew that's around you, no one seems particularly like, oh shit, it was me. It just seems more of everyone up here, at least, is not happy with what's going on.
So does it seem like the rest of the crew is kind of getting the same sense we get, where like I'm having to like keep sort of double taking almost because I'm hearing my own language? Or does it seem like there's multiple languages and this is like the only way he can really communicate to the crew?
Well, like I said, it seems as far as he's speaking, whenever he speaks like this, and everyone, you can tell that everyone's understanding what he's saying, because with certain words they either shudder more or cower more, especially when it gets to the whole torture of your body and soul situation. Everyone seems to recognize and react roughly the same. So you get the sense that they are all understanding what's going on. And whenever he looks like this and talks like this, means that next days are not going to be fun. He just stands there in front of you guys and is just kind of waiting. The the smoke is now curling at everyone's feet.
Kaporin's kind of like cowering at this moment. He knows that this creature is not to be messed with already, since he's had his face to face with him.
Or ass to hand.
Ass to hand, tongue to cheek. Yeah, he's had
Not quite tongue in cheek, but yes.
Yeah. Well, it melted almost through my cheek, if anything. Kaporin's openly afraid right now for the life, and kind of isn't paying attention to what everyone else is doing. But his fight or flight senses are starting to kick in, and he knows that he needs to get out of there. He's kind of keeping an eye on the group. If anyone of the crew moves, like out of the way or anything, he will definitely move along with them.
Yeah, no, everyone is very much staying in place.
I assume so.
He stands there in front of you all. What? No takers? No one feeling brave today? Someone felt brave enough to tamper with my device, and he chucks the necklace into the middle of everyone. I need Nori, Bryn to make dexterity saving throws. All right, Nori, you're able to dodge out of the way in time. Bryn, unfortunately, you, along with 5 other individuals around you, this collar, after it's opened, like it is right now, is made out of lead and iron, so it is heavy. It also extends out to be a total, when it's completely open, about 1.5 feet. As this careens through the crew, immediately decapitating one person and starting to just smash into skulls as it's flying through the group. Bryn, you have it check off your armor, so you only take... Okay, low rolls, so 9 points of bludgeoning damage. But after decapitating, say, small halfling person, just completely just off with their head right at the front. Other people are starting to just get battered by the different portions of the metal as it flings through. It hits your armor, Bryn, and rings and shakes your armor violently. You all kind of hear this vibration, and you see the Taskmaster's head kind of turn a little bit into the group. He squints and starts to move closer, stepping on the body of the halfling in front of him, which now you can see his feet as it pulls out of the smoke to take its step. He had lizard-like feet before, but now these black claws where the toes would end go past the webbing that was the foot to begin with. and kind of sink into the body of the halfling. What did I just hear?
Racha kind of like subtly, as much as he can, stealth, to go like check out the collar. He's actually just more curious about it. If he's caught, he's just going to be curious about it, looking at it.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check because it is underneath the smoke right now as it falls to the floor. So you need to gauge where it fell. Okay, you have a pretty good idea after it banged off Bryn's armor that it's probably about 3 feet off to her left, and you can go over. Are you picking it up, or you?
Yeah, he'd kind of like pick it up and just start inspecting it, like curious about it.
Are you trying to be stealthy about it?
He's trying to be, but he's hoping that as long as he just remains curious about it, it's not going to be an issue.
Okay, go ahead and roll stealth. You kind of dart in between people going towards where the collar went down underneath the smoke. And as he's like starting to look towards Bryn's location, you see it's weird, Bryn, as his face is starting to get closer to you guys. One eye stays straight on you. The other eye just looks over in Racha's direction as he's starting to sneak between people. Racha, you're starting to move forward where you think the collar went down. It's about maybe 10 feet in front of you as you get starting to get closer, but the wall of smoke all of a sudden shoots up directly in front of you, engulfing one person who... Oh yeah, he's dead. Immediately just sends out a... And then you just hear a... against the floor as this hobgoblin person just gets engulfed, lets out a shriek before going quiet. The smoke just stops in front of you, his eye still focused over in your direction. We seem to have found a guilty party. Please don't leave us just yet. A black hand comes out of the smoke towards you, Racha.
He just sort of like looks curiously over to him, and he's like, "Huh?" And he'll just sort of like, if the thing keeps coming towards him, he'll be like avoiding it, but he's not like going anywhere.
All right, deck save. Now come the shitty rolls. Okay. So it's 20 acid damage reduced in half. But I think you have evasion's only for AoE effects, right?
It's only for dex saves.
Ryan, you're muted.
I believe it's for any deck save. Let me double check.
Just while he's checking, what's our current location amongst each other?
Currently, you're over to the right of Nori. Yeah, let me move you guys on the little pagey page.
So it looks like it's any deck save I can do evasion on.
Okay. So you take no damage. And it doesn't grapple you. But this hand is now kind of just this smoke hand is sort of just floating in front of you. And now the Taskmaster turns both his head and eyes over in Richard's directions. Sneaky. Awful sneaky. It don't seem familiar. And as he starts to move forward, people just start, like Noah in the sea, just... sorry, not Noah, Moses in the sea. Noah was the other guy on the sea. Moses in the sea just part in front of him as people just don't want to get in his way. Smoke continuously pouring out of his mouth, by the way, guys.
So am I even able to find the thing down there at all, the collar?
It's on the other side of the hand if you want to go through it.
Well, I don't want to go through it, but can I like try and go around it to pick it up and then like try and offer it to him?
You can certainly try. Do an acrobatics check. Okay. So you kind of quickly just like football stutter step juke the hand as it dips one way. You're like, oh, nope. And you go the other and circle around it, kind of sliding your hand through the smoke until you grab hold of the iron collar. Give me a strength check. You reach down and you grab it and you're like, hold it a lot heavier than I thought. And you end up getting like it above the smoke, but you're kind of like doing the whole, when someone tries to push over a very hard object, you're doing the whole like, trying to lift it with your knees and then your hip. So you get about half out of the smoke, but it's a little too heavy for you to lift. Thing weighs almost 200 pounds.
So it's kind of like on a wheel.
Well, because it's open, so you got like one half of it supporting the other half.
Gotcha. He'll just sort of like look over to the guy and go, drop something. He would have said it in avian too, actually, because he's been speaking to him in avian.
Okay. The Taskmaster kind of comes over as everyone starts parting his way. So that would actually put you right about there now as he moves past Bryn and the rest of the group to face you. The smoke hand behind you and you now supporting this heavy collar. He kind of and goes and reaches up and grabs it without problem. I don't know you.
I don't know you.
What are you doing on this ship?
I fucked up.
Obviously.
He'll sort of like, we're at the bow right now.
Correct.
He'll sort of like look at he'll point towards the snake and go, fixed it, and then make all the noises it did, and like start doing his interpretive dancing of like, this is what went down.
Ah, so you're the one that brought us to this plane. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'll let you get a drink on me. He produces what seems to be a wine cask from behind him and offers it out to you and starts to look over the rest of the group.
The rest of the group meaning my friends, or
The
the
crew.
rest of the group isn't? Okay. And then Do I get the sense that it's kind of like a Russian thing where you don't refuse alcohol?
Seeing as how he was just about to kill you, probably.
Yeah, he will gladly accept whatever he offers me then.
All right. You crack open the cask and kind of give it a quick sniff before. You're not sure what that smell is, but it feels warm. And so you go ahead and tip it into your beak. Kind of worried what it's going to taste like, so it's kind of more of just like a back to the throat type of thing.
Yeah, when I like sniff it and I go, oh yeah, that'll fuck some shit up.
And you take a nice big gulp before you feel like you've successfully drank enough to appease any person who might be offering. And then you kind of put the jug down and cap it off and hand it over. And you kind of start to... Very irony. You've actually tasted this before when you've taken a few hits to the face and blood starts to pool at the back of your mouth. It's weird when it's in a cask. When it kind of tastes fresh, but it's... How can it be fresh if it's in a cask?
Oh, so did he give me like a cup for it, or did he just say drink from the barrel?
It's a wine cask, so it's sort of like a wine skin, but harder and more rigid. So think of like... Yeah, it's better to think of it like a wine skin, but not malleable.
Like, yeah, a wooden one, more or less.
Yeah.
He's gonna like hold it to the best of his ability, like he would his coconut, and he's like, quite.
I'm glad you like. Might be hope for you yet. Kind of grabs it from you and takes a large swig. Large enough to where you think, okay, that cask should probably be empty by now, but doesn't seem to be. As he caps it off and places it back upon his belt. Steps away from you for a couple steps before stopping on the halfling body and then kind of turning, and you all hear the of the body as he kind of spins on a dime on it, squishing it further and further into itself on the deck. You all have, those closest, so Bryn and Nori, you have a weird feeling of something warm kind of pouring across your feet, starting to seek into your shoes. He kind of looks back at you, Racha, goes, like I said, I can appreciate you bringing us here. But don't get in the fucking way. Does another turn around on the body and continues to step forward. He then goes to address the rest of the group once more, seemingly forgetting about the metallic sounding hit that the collar had received. Kind of tosses the collar around in his arm once again. Kind of up like a little baseball, catching it, kind of thinking to himself. He stops. He does the motion to throw it again just to watch everyone kind of shudder and pull back.
Tom makes dolphin noises. Like he's laughing behind him.
Don't worry. I'll find you. Even if I've got to go one. You hear behind you. By one. By one. Below deck you hear. By one. He takes the head of the small halfling person that he had killed, decapitated. Puts it up in his hands. It immediately incinerates, leaving just behind the skull, and you guys smell the burning flesh, the hair, all the things that go along with it, until the skull remains. And he just flicks the forehead of it. Then you see a little fire burn in each eye socket. Doshton, was it you that helped the Archfey? No, Taskmaster, it was not me. Do you know who helped the bitch? No, Taskmaster, it was not me. Fucking imbecile. And just crushes the skull in his hand. Kind of. Alright, back to work. I'll be talking to everyone individually. And with that, the group of people around you start to scatter off and go in different directions, seemingly going back to whatever job they had beforehand. Saren. That voice is killer on the pipes. Hold on. When you don't naturally have a raspy voice and you give a voice rasp, it fucking hurts.
I know how that feels.
All right.
Take your time, by the way. Feel free.
Oh, hold on. Oh, that coffee gets hot in here. Let me turn on the fan.
Void Walker.
No, we're leaving. We are leaving.
I hope you all enjoy your free cruise.
I'm gonna have some words for Saren.
I'm enjoying the fact that Racha is now Iago. Just saying.
Jafar is probably one of the better villains.
Except for the whole rapey part, yeah, Jafar's
Well,
pretty freaking cool. Like power-wise and like smarts and stuff.
I mean, if you really look back on it, Scar was probably the most rapey out of all of them.
That is true.
He did
That
have
is
a
true. But he has a way better song. He actually has a song. Jafar doesn't really have a song. You can't. I mean, it's Jeremy Irons singing, so. But yeah, Scar is. Yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lion King is Hamlet, and so like we all know that Hamlet's uncle was rapey as fuck.
All right. Saren. You've woken up, prone on your back, as you're able to blink away the light, the blinding white light you experienced before being in this new realm. You see a dense canopy above you, blocking out everything of the sky above. You have no idea what... I mean, the canopy's so thick you can't tell if it's nighttime or if it's daytime, because even if it was daytime, it's blocking out so much sun that everything is being underlit by the bush and brush around you that all seems to just have this unnatural glow about it in the air. You see interesting plants and flowers that have such bright luminescence to them that's wholly unnatural, but you've heard of things in places like this before. Putting two and two together with the Archfey in tow, you are guessing you are in the Feywild. She stands there, kind of rubbing portions of her neck that you can see are very red and worn. chafed manacles around her wrist snap off with ease. She seems to be able to breathe for the first time in a long time, but she looks tired. Though you don't know her very much at all, really. She looks very worn down, emaciated to a point that, I mean, luckily you're able to identify her as an archfey, but if you didn't know enough history, you would almost think that she is just a very emaciated, very inbred high elf. That's how thin, gaunt, and unfortunate looking she is. Even through all that, she exudes beauty in a weird, natural way, but it's probably only a fraction of what she actually looks like when she's healthy. Nevertheless, she takes in her few deep breaths as you start to get your wits about you, sitting up and before finally standing. Well, it took you long enough to finally get to me.
I actually did have a question I want to ask before I start talking. Does Sarah know how long ago it was since the last living archfey was
From
spotted?
what, from what you learned through school, and this is probably some of the very early stuff that they teach you as well. You know, no living archfey has been seen, at least, for about 5,000 years. There had been reports of a few archfey possibly interacting with certain high elves that had gone into the Feywild, but without tangible proof. The ones that were the procurement of these rumors, the ones that spread that yes, I went and talked with an archfey. It was spotty information. It couldn't be verified, so it's not really taught that these are actual events that happened, but those were about 3,500 years ago themselves.
So the equivalent of like someone saying they saw Bigfoot.
More like they saw Jesus. Because archfey are known to exist, and back in the day, whereas Bigfoot IRL is just a myth.
The only other thing I wanted to ask was, I know that elves have clerics, so they believe in divinity above archfey. How close are archfays to just being straight divinity?
The archfays that the last recollections of archfays, living interactions with them, they were portions of divinity. So certain, specifically paladins, would work with archfey, would use them to get their divine power from. Clerics, not so much, but archfays, at least the ones that were verified and talked with and really coalesced with the material plane, the primal plane that you guys, the terra plane. Many different words for it, depending on which, faction or where you grew up. But the archfays that actually had a hand in your guys' plane were very noble thinking forward. So though more archfey existed out in the Feywild, those ones that dealt with the material plane were always trying to help. Were always pushing a honest agenda. And so that's why the paladins found real good pathing with those archfey specifically. But clerically wise, they didn't have enough power to pull from them.
They're obviously very chaotic. Are there any actual records of an evil archfey?
Not so much evil, at least in what's taught. There might be if you go down that route as far as your studies go, but unless you're taking an extra 100 or so years to go down that line of study, most wizards who go through wizarding school um, are more in line with learning the things that they need to learn to possibly become a master magician. So that's not really a thing to do at the beginning of your studies, and more of a, oh, I've got time now. Now I'll go research it. But as far as you know, no, there has not been any evil archfey or nega archfey. It's, though, at least the ones that have dealt with the material plane have been very loyal, honest, and straightforward.
So from Saren's perspective, he's just meeting this
Demigod, basically.
demigod who's almost practically guaranteed to be good. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, you do know that other archfey dealt with different realms. But the one I said, the archfey that you were taught, the archfey that did dealings with the material plane, were always good. You do know of archfeys that dealt with the nine hells. You do know archfeys that deal with the astral plane. They were never really taught, never really gone over. They just said that many archfey did many different things, and the ones that dealt with the material plane seemed to be the best.
Okay, and what did she say again?
Well, it's about time you finally showed up.
Were you waiting for someone in particular?
Are you serious? Did
This is a
Hastios
ring-
not send you?
Wait, what was the name she said?
Hastios? Hastios.
Is that the name of a god or anything that comes to mind?
Nope.
I can't say I'm familiar with any Hastios.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm here dealing with these fucking morons for I don't know how many years, and what, you just show up out of fucking nowhere, get me in so much fucking trouble, my cover being completely blown. You're not even from Hastios. Well, I thought I saw the ears and immediately thought, oh, this must be one of his lesser pawns, and he sent to give me the all clear to finally believe myself of these fucking imbeciles. But no, you just happen to be... What the fuck are you even?
She said, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Or who?
No, what the fuck are you even?
What, as in, what race am I?
Yes, wraith, ethnicity, whatever the fuck your people call it. I'm not sure where you're from. You're mangy, that's all I know. She kind of like looks over the side. And what are these ears? They're not even... God, don't tell me you come from Terra. Oh, I smell it on you. You do come from Terra. Oh my god. I told them not to fucking deal with Terra anymore. Nothing ever good ever comes out of it.
I'm not sure they do. We haven't seen an archfey in almost 5,000 years.
Oh, you petty mortal kinds putting numbers on things to try and give it some clarification on time maneuvering. You don't even know exactly how time flows. How could you possibly put a absent juncture on what time is? 5,000 years for you is what? And 2 shits and a fart for me? time doesn't work the same across the plains. I've been in the Nine Hells for the last... Oh, let's see, on Terra. What does Terra consider a year? God, what a measly breath. I guess in your case, I've been in the Nine Hells for about 30,000 years? Oh, your mortality is just rancid. Oh, God, hold on. And she just kind of, like, with her arm out and kind of, like, full extension, like, not wanting to touch you too much, 6 feet separation style, kind of just waves her hand over you as a cloak appears out of nowhere. 7 pixies floating down from the canopy above, and just bringing this cloak, kind of lay it over you, and it's a full cloak, so it's almost like a sheet with a hole cut in it for your head, and it just covers you. And as it does so, it almost doesn't feel like a cloak; it feels like leaves, as it kind of just graces. It's a little itchy. Oh, at least it covers the smell. If Hastios hadn't sent you, what the fuck were you doing on that ship?
My Saren's probably sounding really sheepish at this point for just kind of getting berated. My party and I were hired to reclaim a few things from the shipyard out there, but we were not given very much information from what ship.
Sounds like an awfully Terra problem. Not finding out all the information before accepting said juncture. God. It's like not even dealing with children. It's like dealing with a seed. No, even a seed has more purpose. This is dealing with manure or some other sort of... I don't even know. It definitely smells like manure. Well, I'm guessing you were the origination point then for the plane shift to bring basically hell into your world.
Personally, no. I suppose I can't speak for my companions, though.
Well, all I know is that... And you hear her say a word, and it translates to Felnshara for you in your head, but it's weird hearing what was written, but even your mind translates it into Felnshara. Well, and she says it, was banned from the Terra eons ago, and now you've brought it back. You all should feel wonderful about yourself, whoever is part of your group. It took quite a few... Lives wouldn't be the correct terminology for it. I believe the last time it was in Terra... So, I was just looking up something. I forgot a tab. I had to open up a new one.
Totaling 32 tabs now.
I believe last time it was in Terra was during, well, the destruction period. I'm not entirely sure. I've been in the Nine Hells most of the time, but I remember the battles that were waged and, well, the loss of existence. For life is a very malleable term, but the loss of many existence that went into pushing that ship away. What did the Terror call it? God, it's been a while since I've had to deal with Terran information. Oh, give me a moment. And she kind of just like spins her fingers around her ear, and you see this weird sort of particle effect pull from her finger and kind of just encompass her head, almost looking like a bubble is forming around her head. And she kind of like, her head snaps left and right a few times before. Yes, I believe the aftermath of said destruction was called Ultra Editorum. I feel a few of you mortals use it as a calendar year now.
Just over 4,900 years ago.
I've just recently found my way onto that ship, but let's just say it causes a bit more ruckus in the Nine Hells than it used to cause out here, but it's not a good time. But whether or not you were sent by Hastios, at least I'm rid of it. Fortunately, semi-bound to Terra now. God. Thank you for that one. At least I can be in my home for a while. Maybe I'll be able to outstay whatever havoc is wreaked by that ship. Anyway, what do they call you? What do you call yourself?
I'll go by Saren.
Oh, no, God, not your actual name. Your race, your personage, where'd you come from? What do they call you on Terra?
We refer to ourselves as elves.
Elves. Terra elves. Oh, God. Kind of like sticks to the back of my throat a little bit. It's almost like bile coming up, but manure. It's weird. Elves. Ugh. There are more of you. What's are you at least the top of the food chain in your realm?
Are you sure you really want me to answer that?
It'd be nice to know at least that elves have some sort of higher standing in life and aren't at least just groveling at the feet of other people.
Groveling? Certainly not, but
That's enough. I don't need to hear more. God. Either way, she kind of does like a half-hearted like side bow towards you. She's not really facing you. She's kind of off to the distance. Thank you for bringing me to Terra. You can go now. And she waves her hand, and a blinding white light shudders through your mind once again. Everybody else. You all are dealing with kitty cats on your lap and moving around the decks, just trying to help with whatever can be helped. Luckily, there's been some openings recently in the crew. So, certain portions you see people that look like two-man jobs now have an opening, and you can assist in those directions. You are just trying to lay as low as possible, but every now and then you hear a as the creeping smoke, kind of like a thick snake, makes its way through the decks every now and again. Interestingly enough, as people start disappearing, you all start to see the same ghostly apparitions moving across the decks that slowly start to materialize once more into whole beings. And they kind of look around, dismayed at where they are, until the Minotaur or the Taskmaster moves across them, pointing them in different directions, speaking different languages, and they start to take up positions once again. Interestingly enough, all these new individuals that get, for lack of better words, spawned in, all have a weird glow about them. Slightly red and exhuming, just ever so shimmering. Like, if they move too quickly in one direction, it's almost like that lag effect, and you can see their movement be red and shimmering for a moment before it catches up with them. You feel like this is a tag to make sure that old crew and new crew don't get mixed up. But luckily, you guys all kind of fit into a position somewhere. Racha, I need to know if you're trying to make it up to the crow's nest. It's just a Racha thing I need to ask for.
It is up for debate. um,
Looking up there, you don't see anybody in. There's 6 masks. 6 masks, even. And there's some masks in case you guys are worried about COVID. But there's 6 masks, and 3 of them have crow's nests. None of them are occupied. But you do have the wandering eye of the Taskmaster.
how long has it been? Like the entire time we've been doing tasks and stuff?
Moving around and being on the ship after everyone dispersed, probably been about 45 minutes.
I probably wouldn't go up to the mast in particular. And I'd actually... Can we have a conversation first or no? Like the group, like as we're doing tasks and stuff? I wouldn't go up to the masts yet.
With the available jobs that people are taking to try and blend in, not everyone is in one spot. So you can kind of dip around to different people and possibly talk to them. But as far as getting the whole group all together to talk, it's a hit or miss. You guys might be able to pull it off, but you would definitely require some finagling.
Kaporin's probably hanging out by the what's the name of the part that Cern got kicked out of? The
captain's quarter?
Yeah. My brain is...
So you want to hang around the captain's quarters? If you're talking, you're muted.
Oh. He fixes the wall outside and continues to move forward. Just like, I'm not staying put, but I'm going to fix this while I'm here.
Okay.
help
Are
if
you,
all that stuff.
is it? Are you fixing it using magic? Is what's happening?
I've done mending in front of in front of them before, so I'm just gonna mend it real quick and continue on with cleaning that area.
You guys get the idea that a few of the crew are doing magic. They are heavier items that can't be pulled, are sort of doing small magics to help things move along. Some are doing some cleaning on the bottom decks with magic. So magic isn't a foreign thing here, especially with a creature from the Nine Hells.
Kaporin is actively fixing damage with mending that he can find, but also cleaning.
So, Richard, you can possibly talk to everyone if you want to try and get them all into one section at some point, or go individually.
He'd probably try and like indicate for people to try and get down beneath deck first, and then like just like slowly one at a time. Don't everybody go. And he'll just sort of like casually be swapping the deck still.
Okay, so you relay the information to everybody. I would say Nori and Bryn are probably already below deck. Kapoor and Rashi being on top. And then get this information across. It's not too hard for you both to go down below deck, with Richaw making sure everyone's down there first before going down himself. You guys can see each other around. Where would you guys like to all try and convene?
Can I sort of just get like a whole lay of it by mopping around everywhere? Basically, not actually mopping so that I'm making slick floors and screwing everything up, but like just basically I want to get a layout of the whole ship.
Yeah, I mean, on the second deck here, it's mainly food cargo, repair cargo, as well as portcullises that are open and interesting sort of contraptions. Some being ballista-esque that are all fitted and being acquired and set up in front of all these portcullises. As far as it goes, the second deck is pretty much just open the entire way through. There is no broom closet or anything like that. It is just an open expanse of area as people are quickly moving around trying just to get their jobs done.
And then before he like approaches everybody who's been gone down at this point, he'd check out the downstairs to the lowest level.
Lowest level of the ship, there are a few portcullises here that also have weapons set up and ready to go. There is a drop down to the very bottom of the ship, but this is sectioned off in portions. There are walls that block in case of structural damage. It not only gives more structural stability, but also in case things start to flood, it doesn't flood the entire bottom of the ship right away. It has to flood section by section, so they have hopefully a chance to repair. Beyond that, though, so that's the very bottom of the ship, and then there's like a half stair that kind of leads to the bottom deck, if you will. And in this bottom deck, you have, it's again another sort of expanse. There are a few partitions up here as well, but not as many crew. Altogether, about 10 besides yourself when you're down here. But they seem to be shoring up back portions of the hull, like doubling layered of the bottom of the hull to hopefully give more stability. It seems that wherever they were before this, if this is the exact same ship, they were set up for a different environment. And now that they're in a aquatic environment on Terra, which may or may not have different gravitational problems to deal with, they are fixing the ship to be watertight and ready to use. So think of it as the very bottom split up into 8 sections with walls in between. Just a half floor above that being the bottom deck, split into 4 compartments. Second deck is completely open, and top deck completely open besides the captain's quarters. There is no barracks portion, there is no cots, there is no sleeping arrangements for anyone here. It seems that this might be a sleep where you are type of situation, if they sleep at all.
And there's no like, I mean, they don't need one, but there's no like brig or anything like that either.
Nope. Seems like they don't really deal with prisoners.
I mean, when you're, ship captain's a freaking Balrog.
Not quite a Balrog, it's just the horns remind you of that, so you know he's very fiendish.
He's also not even the captain. He's just the taskmaster.
He's just the taskmaster. But
Makes it worse. That doesn't help, because then who the fuck is the actual captain at that point?
But nevertheless, those compartments really being, at least in the below deck situation, your only way of seclusion.
Does the bottommost where like people are seemingly like stacking and weighing down and all that sort of stuff, is it a lot of people down there, or is it just
On the bottom floor?
Yeah, the one where people are like setting.
On the very bottom deck and very bottom of the hull, there's only about 10 people on this deck altogether. It's just a bunch of carpenters that are shoring up the inside of the hull itself. So it's loud, as there's a lot of hammering and nailing, as well as not that many people.
His mic cut out in the middle of this last sentence, so he's trying to figure out what happened.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah. Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
All right. Well, I didn't hear anything Val had said, so.
Oh. I said that it's about 10 people that reside on the bottom here. They all seem to be carpenters, and so not that many people, and there's a lot of hammering and nailing going on, so a lot of noise in the background, but not a lot of people. As far as the crew goes, there's about 50 people in the crew. If it's fully stocked of crew currently, it's a little bit down, as every now and again, that continues to happen as you guys are doing the do. But, yeah, this is an option.
Yeah, he just sort of kind of corral the other 4 of them, and basically go bring them down to that level, and then assuming there's other materials to use, he'll like pick up he'll ask Bryn to pick up a bunch of the material, and we'll go over to a section and pull out his carpenter's tools and sort of like start working away, but like, and then hopefully everybody else just sort of picks up on the idea, and they're helping me by like holding the flashlight and by getting more material and all that sort of stuff.
Overall, since you do have proficiency in your carpenter's tools, you are able to pull off this facade without a check needed.
And so like he'd go like, what the fuck happened?
I don't know. We need to get out of here.
You said you fixed it?
He'll minor illusion a small like 2-foot sized, not 2 foot, like a foot sized picture of the snake head on the front of the boat, and be like, nesting material.
So,
Oh no.
So maybe the magic was broken somehow, and you restored it. But we can't leave the ship without Saren. I mean, maybe we can. Goran might be okay with that, but
Right now, As much as I would like to save Saren, I don't think we can. We saw that bright flash of light. We saw that thing. He's clearly a fiend. We are in way over our heads. Right now, we need to focus on survival with us, because I don't think we're going to be lucky if we all get out.
I don't even think Saren's alive at this point.
I don't think he is either.
I was fixing the holes near the captain's quarters and I didn't see anything. So,
Well, that being disappeared too, so maybe they went somewhere else. But how are we going to get off? I mean, there's probably maybe there's extra ships, but that's going to be noticeable if we all of a sudden just jump overboard.
I can cast a spell to make us more stealthy.
and I can get one of us out of here at least a good distance. Whoever can run away fast enough.
I suggest you take Bryn, because Bryn, you are very tall and easier to spot. Rashi, your armor would make you more noticeable, but you're smaller, so I can get you out as well. Richa, I already know you're very stealthy. I think but you've been targeted by the guy, and that worries me. You
Even
drank from his flask.
Even if you're able to help with the stealth of it, jumping overboard into the water is still going to cause a noise. And it's going to cause people to look over, and as soon as anybody notices any of us jumping over, they're going to immediately connect.
We still have water breathing though, so we could hold our breaths. Well, we don't have to hold our breaths, but we don't have to like pop right back up. We would just maybe swim down and see if the ship graveyard still there. I mean,
I think everything is still there.
That affected something?
Because
they're not moving right now. They're not actively sailing, right? So they're kind of stationary. So maybe we still have time to look for the stuff.
No, we've got to get out. You hear all those gasps. You hear everyone being killed. They're being brought back, and I can safely say that I don't want to have a red glow around me.
Richard, how did you get back on the ship? We heard you fall.
He'll mimic climbing a ladder a little bit.
Okay, so there's a ladder.
If anything, if you are able to get down that ladder, me and Bryn will be underwater by the time, but you guys will have to be able to get yourselves off. Actually, and this is the point where I'm actually going to ask, does water count as an object in the way of Dimension Door? Well, no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, our goal right now is to get off the boat and dive as deep as we can. That's our only hope at the moment. There's no plan. This is just survival, because we don't have much time.
How big were the portholes on the upper deck? Or not the upper deck, but the ones above us?
Yeah, all the portcullis are roughly about 2.5 feet wide.
And did all of them have something like the ballista or whatever set up, or were they just some of them empty?
A lot of the people who are dealing with them right now are currently moving armaments into the slots, so about half are full.
Theoretically, could we go through one?
Nori, Richa, Rashi would probably have a little bit of a hard time. Florin, Bryn, no. Not without a lot of squeezing.
You two get out with your
probably
spell.
not Bryn at all with her armor.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to.
Thick pony. Well, if we
Rashi, you're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, I know I'm muted. I wasn't talking.
Oh.
Well, if we can get off this ship one way or another, or might want to do it quickly. We don't know when he'll come and question us next. And I don't.
Sorry.
I don't care to end up in the palm of his hand that way.
Okay, so what I want to do right now is Rachaw's given us enough of a distraction, correct? For lack of a better term. Val,
What was that?
Rachaw's given us enough of a little cover that I could cast a spell.
Right now, I mean, you don't see the Minotaur or the Taskmaster around, and everyone else seems to be doing their work.
All right, so I guess I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace on all of us. And I'm going to say, Bryn, Kaparin, get out of here now.
With that cue, Kaporin will actively cast Dimension Door. Basically says open sesame and guides Bryn through the door.
Before he takes us through, she's gonna kiss Nori just as a holy crap kind of moment. See you soon. And then they'll go.
See you soon.
You hear Rachel go, "Aww."
And you said water doesn't count against the Dimension Door? Okay, so yeah, we're basically going straight down 500 feet.
Okay.
Okay, and now we all stealth. Quiet as possible. Get to the porthole and climb out.
All right. So you guys going up to the second deck and climbing out?
Yep.
All right. If you guys are trying to do it sneakily, go ahead and do a stealth check for
You have a +10.
Rashi, Racha, Nori.
I would like to. Oh dear. So even with a 17, could I use Bardic or is that an auto fail?
Nat 1 is an auto fail no matter what.
Oh dear.
I heard my name, but I don't know what was said because you cut out.
Rashi, roll a stealth.
Stealth check.
You can roll a with +10, but I believe Nori
Well,
might
let
die.
everyone else roll. It is more of a group check right now, so.
The meme just going through my head. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. So Racha and Rashi both need stealth checks.
I know I'm torn on whether or not I actually want to do it. He'd be the last one out, so Rashi would go first before him.
So you are gonna roll though, Racha?
My issue now becomes: would I have been made aware of Nori's failure before I started doing it?
This isn't a group stealth check.
So it would be a 6 plus your stealth +10.
So that's a 34 for you, Racha?
Correct, yes.
Catches Nori as the minute she starts falling. It's like, shh.
So 24, 34, 17. But auto fail.
All right. I need all three of you to also give me perception checks.
I forgot I gave Nori Bardic Inspiration the other day.
So, as you all start to creep up the stairs and to take a look around for an open porthole to try and go through. You do notice one about midway through the ship, as the portion of the stairs that you guys are coming up from, all of that half of the ship has already been filled with armaments. You guys are trying to quickly maneuver through everybody, like looking like you know what you're, like you guys are on task, and then immediately take a quick detour towards one of the portholes to try and get through. Rashi luckily kind of squeezes and dips through the porthole. But just as she's going through, she looks from where you're hearing voices talking decently loudly, louder than any of the crew. This also makes Racha and Nori's head snap over in that direction. And Rashi, just as you're making your way through and clearing the side of the ship towards the water below, you guys see a very large, half Goliath, half Triton individual currently talking with the Taskmaster, as the Taskmaster has his head bowed towards him and is speaking with him. You guys notice this the last moment as Nori, you jump out the porthole, and Racha, you jump out as well. Luckily, you guys are jumping from the second deck. With the wind that is pushing outside and the noise from the carpentry below, it's enough to mask your guys' splashes in the water. You guys get just underneath the water and kind of instinctually huddle up against the boat, at least getting underneath it, so that way if anyone looks over the side they don't see anything. A few seconds go by, a few more, and alright. Everything seems to be okay. At least no one seems to have noticed you. As Saren impacts in the water about 70 feet off the side of the ship.
Swim away! Swim away! I don't care. I'm leaving. I'm going down.
You got plane shifted back, but the ship has slowly been moving. As it is not anchored anywhere, it has slowly been moving away from the rock. So you got plane shifted back to your initial location, but the ship's no longer there. You make a big kerplunk, and as you kind of blink away the brightness of the lights, you kind of find yourself underwater, almost immediately starting to be like, oh shit, I need to hold my breath. And then you're like, wait, okay, I can breathe. I'm fine. And then you kind of looking around, you see the base of the ship that's underwater, and you see 3 individuals swimming directly down. A certain bird-like figure is swimming further and further down the water. You can probably guess this is Racha. What do you want to do, Saren?
I think he may be frozen.
No, he
He's
just
frozen.
he just sits there very still.
Contemplating life
Just
decisions.
staring like, do I follow him or not?
Do I fireball the ship?
It's just a clever cardboard cutout.
Have you seen those memes of those people doing that for their meetings?
I have not. No.
Oh, double Saren.
How blessed.
Hot diggity
Why are
damn.
Oh shit! That took me a moment. I was like, wait, no, he's still frozen, and I'm like, oh no, he's down there.
Yeah, my
Me
thing
too.
decided to crash, so I had to sit there for 2 minutes listening to everyone before it decided to finally close Zoom.
Yeah, it still shows you
Oh,
in the meeting
it's still
room.
up on ours. Oh,
Oh,
there
there
it
it
goes.
goes.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Dang
it
it.
too.
Name ejected.
That was hilarious.
When did you learn to use clone?
Simulacrum. So, did you hear what happened to you at least?
I know I'm back. You said I saw 3 figures, one of them being bird-like swimming down.
Correct. And now the choice is yours on what you want to do.
Well, definitely don't want to go up, so I'm going to start swimming straight down.
All right. You guys start to descend further and further down into the water. Are you
That
trying
was
to...
weird. No, that was it was like I hit the space bar to go to talk, and it rolled on D&D Beyond. That was weird.
Perfect.
I would actually be, because Saren is now the last person in the line of our group, go over and swim with Saren, sort of relying on Nori and Rashi to be in front of us, kind of thing.
So, you guys are swimming down, with Kaporin and Bryn being a bit further than everybody else. Underwater dogs barking in the background. It's a different type of dolphin.
Dogfish.
And hopefully that masks your guys' swimming and presents enough of a distraction. Nevertheless, you guys continue swimming. Everyone give me a round of perception checks.
Bad rolls today.
All right. Everyone kind of glancing over their shoulders. Kaporin, you're able to see that the rest of the group, including another figure, which looks to be Saren, have started their descent down in the waters. You're gonna have to ask how the fuck that happened. The rest of you, as you're coming down, Saren, you kind of just getting literally thrown into this situation, are wildly keeping an eye out if anybody follows. But as far as the immediates go, doesn't seem to be any extra bodies in the water in pursuit. So you guys continue swimming straight down.
Kaporin's probably gonna, with having Bryn falling behind, but we're heading back towards that graveyard.
Well, the graveyard expands wildly in all directions underneath you.
Oh,
Yeah, we're still above it, but I would sort of be, I guess, trying to catch up to Kaparin and Bryn, and then once we all sort of gather together, looking for the nearest potential sandbar possible.
Okay, give me a history check. The closest outcropping or sandbar that are you talking about the bottom of the floor, or you guys want to...
Something that we could stop and rest on, because there's no way we're swimming all the way back to the shore, and we can't exactly go to our raft.
Okay, so you're just going off in a random direction to hopefully find something that is above water?
Yeah, something like not even necessarily above water, but something that we don't have to float, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can reside on any of the ships that are underneath you if you want to. But as far as anything that protrudes past that, you don't see anything, obviously, in the ship graveyard around you. It's just a bunch of ships that either the area that they got placed in was cleared out beforehand, or with the placement of whatever ship is graved here, took the space of. But and at least for about a quarter of a mile off from that central rock, it's nothing but ships. If you guys continue past that, let's see, everyone's speed is reduced in water. I don't think anybody has anything for that, do they?
no, Kaporin's at 10 feet a second, 10 feet per movement.
Oh, if Kaparin's that slow, I'm going to turn into another dolphin and just kind of make sure everyone's at least marginally faster, so we're not all going.
Well, there's only so much
So
one dolphin
also-
can do.
As much as I can do. At least
Yeah.
get Corparin up to a reasonable speed.
Yeah, if you're gonna at least push Caparin to the limits of everybody else, that still puts you all at moving 15 feet around, which puts you roughly at moving with the dash or swim faster action. That's only going to put you at 30 feet around, which I believe equates to 2 miles an hour. 1.5 miles an hour. Sorry. So, swimming is a bit more taxing than in walking is, as pretty much everyone who has ever swam knows. A regular day of travel, which you guys did half a day already, plus everything you guys have gone through, and swimming, you guys can probably swim for 2 hours without being completely exhausted and incurring exhaustion. It takes you a while to get out from the ship graveyard, but eventually you do. And once you're past the ship graveyard, that's a whole nother portion of the sea that you guys got to see. It's awesome. Once you're past the ship graveyard, there is open sand on the ocean floor for you guys to deal with. There are reefs if you want a little bit of cover. There's also mini mountains of sand dunes that created down here. A few channels cut through different portions of the ocean floor. So there's peaks and valleys. It's its own landscape, its own biome down here. But plenty of enclosed spaces to take a break, as well as just open sand for you to relax on. Quote unquote, relax on.
Corparin would probably want to stay near the ships, just because that's where we know the spire is, where our glass boat is.
Is our glass boat attached to the boat or attached to the spire?
It's attached to the rock.
Oh, it is attached to the rock?
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it was
The-
attached to the boat.
No, the ship would have been too high up, unless you guys wanted to use like 100 feet of rope to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we still have so we still have the raft. It's not a boat, everyone. It's a raft. There's a difference.
It's a five-
very important difference.
It's a 5 square foot glass flotation device.
Sounds like a life preserver for Corparin.
Yeah, basically, you guys, I would say you smartly hitched it to the rock itself and hitched it tight, so that way it was always in contact, so it doesn't swim out a little bit and come colliding constantly with the rock. So this
Shattering.
way, yeah. So this way there might be a little bit of grinding on one side, but at least it's not going to be shattered and cracked.
Grinding. Ooh.
Not
Well,
the
we
kind
could do-
Caporn wants.
Just while we're swimming along, Corparin is going to keep an eye out for the outskirts of this ship graveyard, knowing that our original goal was to look for a ship at the end of this spiral, just to make notes to himself. But if the group decides they want to land on an open plain of sand, then that's fine. But if not, he would prefer one of the ships just so that they could probably go in or take cover under.
All right.
Well, Racha would then like convey, do we want to just try and sleep at that boat, the boat that we're trying to find at the end of this spiral, whatever that might be?
I would agree with that. If we just locate this ship that we've been looking for and rest there, I mean, we have to find it anyway.
All right. It takes about 25 minutes or so before you guys finally swim out to the outskirts of the ship, not shrimp, graveyard. And as you do so, the outer ring, the very last row of ships that are out here, are not sequential. They aren't all tucked to each other and then there'd be one left. It's like, oh, this obviously has to be the end. Though they are spaced out relatively evenly, as you get to this portion of the graveyard, just in your eyesight alone, looking kind of at this outer edge, you see 3 ships that reside on this outer ring.
From Kaporn's knowledge that he's gained from looking over the shipyard, does he notice that any of them look like the surrounding area looks relatively new that it's been added, or do they just all look like they all just have the same appearance of they've been waterlogged down here for a while, kind of thing? Or I guess a ship that's not been looted would also be the case.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay.
Racha's mostly looking for whichever one seems to be the most cover, like that we can make a little campground out of, kind of thing.
I'm liking
Yeah,
this.
just something protective.
And I think we established last time that it's not necessarily that the one that's been there the longest is the one we're going to, or the one that's been there the shortest, because it could just be how he got them there or when he got them there.
Yeah.
And them themselves being shipwrecks in general, you're not sure how long they were underwater at a different place, so...
Yeah, but Val did say that it seemed like the ones that were closest to the rock were like had already been picked through, so that's why we're going out farther, thinking that.
But just like those 3, him saying, you know, we're looking for the one that's like the most waterlogged or whatever like that, that wouldn't necessarily need to happen because.
And to give you guys a reference, this circle on screen now is a very scaled down version of it, but you guys are only on that portion of the ring. And in this portion, you see 3 ships on the outermost ring.
Doesn't mean that there's only 3 ships on this outermost ring.
Exactly. But looking at the 3 ships that you do see, kind of using Nori to dart you back and forth between the different ships to get a cursory glance with your perception check. We'll say it's the most south one. It's an interesting, it's not a very large boat. It's more of a schooner and smaller in scale, made to go fast, but not really first off, it's not an Elven Armada ship, like you were told. And also not meant to hold a lot of goods. It's more of a messenger ship or possibly an attack ship or something along those lines. The middle one does run Elven Armada colors. The masts, the sails, pretty much the entire top portion of the ship seems to have been cleanly cut. Something cut it all in a very straight and solid line. There is, from about 7 feet off the top deck, the masts and everything above it is just gone. It looks like almost like a laser went and just completely cut the top of this thing off. Other than that, though, there is one large hole on the so it's resting on its side, and the side that's facing up has a large hole on the side of it. Very particular hole, almost precise circularly. The third ship, the northern ship, also runs Elven Armada colors. Darker though, seemingly probably underwater for a lot longer. Much more crustacean and growth resides over a majority of this, but on the back end, because this one is actually nose down into the sand, probably about a quarter of it seemingly under sand, or possibly not there at all. But the very back of it that reaches up most is very dark blue and brown, like the colors of the Elven Armada. Some of the masts still reside in actually tattered sails, though very small remnants of it still exist. A lot of the rope, though, has decayed, and some of the rope still exists, but has growth over it as well. Interestingly enough, as you kind of grace yourself over this last ship, it seems that a skeletal figure rests over the helm. The way it's resting, its chest is up against the wheel as it resides there, and something protruding from its back, possibly pinning it up against the helm itself.
Albert?
But as far as the three ships go, the northern two seem to be Elven Armada ships, roughly about the same size, though you can't really tell because the disfigurements of both, as well as, yes, one of the ships is partially submerged. But they all seem to be large enough to carry cargo. Whether or not that was their origination or their job, they at least seem, they're definitely larger than the schooner. So, they're possibilities.
Kaporan, after like having gone over the three ships, would probably point to the third one, with the skeleton kind of locked at the wheel, and it's like, I think we may want to check that one out. Just, or if the party seems fit, maybe the oven ship that's settled down. Or what you said, was the second one on its side, or was it just on? Second one's on its side. So one's nosedived and the other one's on its side.
Correct.
Kaporan likes the third ship, so he's gonna be like, we should go check out that one.
Racha would immediately go towards the sooner and start basically sweeping it for any sort of threat.
Okay.
Everyone can help Richard with that.
From Kaporan looking around, is it obvious that he's looking for like a specific ship?
That Kaporan's looking for a specific ship?
Yeah.
It seems like it.
Are you still trying to finish the job? We need to get out of here.
Yeah, Dolphin Nori grabs you and drags you towards Racha and Bryn, who are going to go scope out the ship. Just like, not right now. This is not the important part right now. We need to regroup.
But the skeleton. Bob the Second.
Racha just sort of gestures towards the scar on Koparin's face from being licked and kind of tries to imply that you're at half health, buddy.
Koparin,
But-
I am very low on spells. We are going to rest.
Kaporan is following.
Trying to take shelter as much as possible in that first ship, but sweeping it for threats first, of course.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Can I also help with that?
Yeah, you can either get advantage or do it yourself.
And then I said I was going with Richard anyways as well. Do you want to just give him advantage?
No, she already roll with the die.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just stop.
Well, both of you, as you guys approach the schooner, looking at it relatively intact. Not much growth on it. Looks to be probably of a newer shipwreck situation. But as you guys approach, kind of going slow but steady, Nori, you kind of instinctually echolocate as you guys get to the exterior of the ship. And you're picking up bodies inside that are moving. As soon as that echo goes off and you kind of stop in your tracks, the schooner takes off. The ship actually rises up off out of the sands and seemingly of some sort of propulsion takes off underwater, traveling at 100 feet per round, is moving with haste. It seems whatever was in control of this schooner not like being found out and is booking it.
Did that clear up the space that we could just sort of set up a camp?
Well, I mean, between all the these three ships, there's like a good 60, 70 feet of just open sand.
Just sort of goes, free real estate.
I want to throw shatter at it, but I don't want to attract attention.
We're not going to mess with the ship. Just let it go. It didn't try to attack us. It didn't try to do anything. That's not our problem right now.
We need to focus on getting back to land and getting as far away from here as possible.
What do you guys want to do?
Cameron is like, well, when we go back to land, we'll have a bounty to deal with, and another head to deal with, probably. But we should probably just land on the seafloor for now.
Okay, we'll need to regroup and redo everything. Saren, what the actual fuck? What were you thinking? We were on a crazy ghost ship, and the first thing you do is go on your own? Why?
Excuse me, which one of you brought a ship from the 9 hells to the material plane?
A ship from the 9 hells?
According
Just
to the
sort of
arch
raises
I
his
spoke
hand.
with.
That was me.
We kind of find the culprit, and we just kind of Corn just points at Racha.
We, as of now,
I think
Either Saren is trying to think of his words very carefully, or someone's talking to him.
he's at his grandma's house, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know. I think he's like thinking of his words too.
I'm pretty sure he's dealing with stuff right now.
And I'm assuming Nori is out of wild shape.
Okay.
She's got it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have exited wild shape at this point, because after did I sense anything from the other ships?
If you're,
After I
are
was
you going to
going
go up to
around
them and do your thing?
Before I yell at Saren, I would go and
Okay. Give me an investigation check for the first ship.
investigation or perception?
This is investigation because you're using your echo.
Oof.
This is the middle ship.
That is an 11.
Okay. Doing the echo out the side of it. It seems there's a couple decks to it, but you're not picking up anything moving, at least. Now
Alright,
give me another
check
one
out
for
the next ship.
the top ship. This one seems to have a lot of debris inside, but again, nothing moving.
Okay, as long as nothing's moving.
Apart from like small fish, like you can tell, like barely small blips.
Yeah. So I'll leave that alone. Go back on wild shape, yell at Saren, and then we can continue on.
Gotcha.
Okay, add a character question real quick. Are we long resting or short resting? Because I'm worried that water breathing will wear off at some point, and then all of a sudden we will start drowning and not be able to get to the top fast enough.
No, it lasts for
It
24
lasts for
hours.
24.
You
We'll be
guys,
fine.
you guys are only like 5 to 6 hours in.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I didn't know. I was like, I don't know how many hours it's been. We're gonna die down here. I mean, we may die down here, but I don't want it to be from like suffocating.
Yeah, it would. It took you guys 2.5 hours to get to the rock, so it's actually closer to about 5 hours right now. So you might need to re-yell at Saren so he remembers what you said.
I guess, would any of the three who went out the porthole and splashed into the water, would they know who the figure was talking since they...
Oh yeah, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, relay that, absolutely.
I think Saren's typing in chat. He says right now we're. I don't even know. I don't.
Right now, we are
Unequivocally
unequivocally
fucked.
fucked. Our first priority should be to get
Our
off
first priority
Yeah.
be to get
ashore and as far inland as
ashore
possible.
and as far inland as possible. Continue yelling, Nori.
I don't remember everything I said.
You said where, like, you basically told him, like, said, what the actual fuck? The first thing you did on a weird ghost ship was go by yourself, and then he said something about the 9 realms, and you went, what? And then we all kind of pointed at Racha as, like, he fucked up. He did something bad.
Okay. So, Saren, what did you find out here? Where did you go? We thought you were dead.
I can slightly take over if you need me to.
Can we just assume?
No, assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
But I'm ING.
Okay, thank you for that short summary. Because
And I was in the field. Okay.
Okay.
My audio.
Well, that's something.
bad. That sounds very bad. Very, very bad.
Glad
What have
you're
we gotten
alive.
ourselves into?
Oh, wait, Nori, Racha, you guys kind of saw the Taskmaster guy talking to a half Triton, half Titan being, right? Do you think that's Qatar? Because I think that's Qatar.
He's got a very unique heritage, I would assume, is Qatar.
Indubitably.
So that means that the ship we accidentally brought back and is roaming above us, he somehow maybe helped banish or something, because unless he has a twin brother.
The likelihood of him being that old is highly unlikely, unless he has access to something wizardly. I know druids can live for a very long time, but he doesn't seem like either of those things.
So maybe his parents or his dad or something, because that seems like a very rare combination to happen.
Val just smiling in the background is wonderful.
Oh yes, my party is fucked.
Well,
I'll
he
came to
did
that
warn.
conclusion many.
I mean, he
ago.
did warn us that, like, we put our toe in, like, end game shit. So, you know, now he's just enjoying us trying to figure out how to get out of it.
But I don't think it quite matters who's the captain of this helm right now.
No, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Qatar, because at that point, we would have to confront him or something.
With the roles that they had, did any of them get a good enough view? It's just they were jumping out the window and they saw this guy.
It's a half Triton, half Goliath, blue-skinned, long black hair individual running down to about his waist. Very muscular, sitting about 8 feet tall. Pretty on point. I mean, you guys saw Qatar's back for a moment, and it resembles what you saw.
How wonderful.
Well, I think we're just going to have to deal with the bounty at this point. I mean, I'm not going to let them take you, but that sounds like the viable option we're left with, unless we somehow can blackmail Qatar with the, hey, look, there's a boat there, and I don't know. I'm out of ideas, and I'm tired.
Amen, Rashi.
Saren says, I highly doubt Qatar helped. The Archfey said that it didn't just cost a lot of life, but it took a large amount of existence. But
yeah, that's what Rashi was responding to. And then I just said that 'cause she's tired.
And who in their right mind put the fucking ship right there?
Nori, give me an intelligence check.
Why do you do this to me? I'm not smart. I
That
have a
hasn't
10.
that hasn't notoriously been her best trait
That's
on
why
rolls.
it's great to make her roll when she comes up with
Nori, you
something
have
that
Bart-
might be intelligent related.
Nora, you have Bardic.
I do have Bardic. I'll probably end up having to use it. Okay, it's a D8, right?
I think it's a 10.
Let me double
Oh, is
check.
that a 10 or an 8?
Sorry, I don't even remember off the top of
I
my head.
have bards in 2 groups, so I'm not 100%.
Sorry. Bardic Inspiration. A D8.
Okay, so that's
17.
17.
Okay, now trying to remember the bard stuff. What were you just saying? Oh, who put the ship? Putting 2 and 2 together and seeing all the ship graveyards that have been placed down here, you're probably getting whoever placed those ships there might have placed that ship there.
Was he planning this?
D, that's what I was trying to say, that maybe there's no like swords or anything, but he needs a fall person for us to go back and bring his friends back or his parents' friends back, or I don't know.
Mom's
Maybe he
sister's
is that
brother's
old.
boyfriend.
Right, mysterious voice from above.
Fish
Doubtful.
just going by like, sorry, didn't mean to eavesdrop.
But
Wait,
what-
Rashad says doubtful?
Yeah, I would have said, doubtful.
How come?
What do you...
What do you think? Oh, sorry, Nori.
No, I was echoing what you were saying.
to what end does that make sense though? Why not fix it himself? Why use us? It doesn't make.
Maybe he can't.
I don't think he knew how to. If he was planning to bring that back, I'm sure he would have done it as soon as he found it.
But
And he thought
Richa,
some random group of adventurers who might be capable of salvaging a ship would somehow figure it out.
I don't think he thinks we're capable of salvaging the ship. I think it was just, I think that's what he does for money, because he can clearly live under the water. But Richa, why do you not think that he might have tricked us?
You're giving me a day off.
I don't think he meant for us to even do that. I think it was a stupid accident, I guess. And it just happened. I don't think he was expecting it at all.
I collect antiquities.
I'm sure if
I
anything,
mean,
if he was not a part of that ship, he certainly made friends quickly.
Both Bryn and Rashi, give me history checks.
At Caparin's comment, I'd nod and say, antiquities.
Never mind, continue on.
Awesome.
Perfect.
I mean, the ship is really old though, and the people on it are really. Oh, never mind. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm tired.
Saren, you said the ship came from where?
I was told it came from the Nine Hells, but once again, to put it into perspective, how fucked we are. This thing was a part of the era that caused, I forget how it said, I just have Ultradatorum.
Okay, quick question. Would Rashi know what that is? Because I know I haven't been a part of the party as long, so there's some stuff I
It's
don't know.
You probably wouldn't, because you weren't raised learning that type of information.
What is that? That sounds bad.
Would any of
It's how we city it is Sidian, right? I lost the page it was on.
Yeah, it's
It's
Sidian.
how we've been keeping track of our calendar years for the last 4,000 years, give or take.
They
And
created time? Right, Rashi's like kind of being dense. Like that, like so it was a
Morv created our view of time, gave us our year. Like, it's 4912, and I think I have that right.
Yeah.
And that means whatever this thing was has been gone for 4,912 years. And now it's back.
The nerdy elven version of the explanation of Altre Datorum was the last major battle of the gods, which created the continents. So basically, think of
course.
the Pangea breaking apart style of continent creation. That's what Alter Datorum was, and Alter Datorum translates to altered destruction.
I figured that as a player. I just didn't know if like my character would know stuff like that.
But yeah, that's Saren's elvish explanation of it.
Okay, so once again, I say very, very bad.
This is so beyond us.
This is a danger to the world.
This kind of makes the whole like undead thing with the dude kind of seem like not important.
It makes a lot of things seem not important.
It
Well,
is.
If we're going to give up on our search for these goods, we might want to rest now, and as soon as we're filling up to it, begin our journey back to shore, because we're going to need to get away as soon as possible.
I don't think there's any getting away from this. We're gonna have to figure out who to go to fix it.
Racha would pipe up and say, "Guitar first," and then nod at Kaparin and say, "Rest now," and give a thumbs up, and then point towards the ships and say, "Extend an olive branch."
Extend an olive branch.
I think he wants us to complete the mission, so at least we're not on Qatar's bad side.
Okay.
That's very clever. Yes.
I think we're already on Qatar's bad side.
Any
I
good
don't think
point
he doesn't have a good side, so I agree with that.
He
would spike up and is like, "Well, he looks pretty good."
Racha would say, "I'm sorry, my sentiments aren't the same. Qatar neutral."
Qatar neutral. That seems fair.
Yeah. Maybe.
He's in for the profit, if anything. If we can bring profit, we don't have nothing to worry about. If we come back handed.
But he's also talking to whatever that ship captain is in this boat from hell.
For theoretically, you are kind of right that maybe it actually isn't him, but I doubt it because that combination doesn't seem like that's a thing that happens every day.
And what were you going to say?
And I think
Saren's trying to say something.
To counter Kaporin's point, Saren was going to say, if all he cared about was profit, all he has to do is capture that one, and I'll point to Nori. That one right there. And it's probably one of the easiest bounties of his lifetime.
Also, too,
And
for most of you who met him, there is Kazariak, who
what do you mean?
was half Goliath, half Triton.
Oh,
But I
As-
would have sensed it.
No. I'm just saying, as far as Rashi saying, that mixture seems to be pretty rare, at least. Of your guys' most recent memories, there is Kazariak, at least that you've interacted with.
so there's at least 2 individuals that we know of that are of this.
That you guys have met in the last few months, yeah.
There's
But
2? Well, that makes it
one of-
worse.
The second one, we don't need to worry about him. He's with the Elven Armada. He's helped me, even with knowing who my family is and who I am.
But it throws out our idea that it's such a rare combination. It may
2
just-
people still rare. It's not like you see that combination walking around the streets of Kember or whatever other cities.
Rachawad, Minor Illusion, Skipper Jonathan Ladash, and one of the Tritons from his village, assuming they were Tritons now that we know they're Tritons, and say a village.
We've seen the combination only twice, but we know that these species, or you call them species, races intermingle.
So let me put it like this. Yes, there are people like that, and that's totally normal and valid. The problem is that there's only one that we know of within any mile radius where it'd be reasonable for them to get to that ship as quickly as they did. Because we were on there for maybe hour and a half, and he was already there. And whoever that was already there. And they were male, correct?
They
As
just
far as you can tell.
Well, but that's that's true.
Kaporan had an attraction to it, so you're guessing it's male.
Of course.
Racha sort of just he'll point directly upwards from sort of trying to imply the boat and just say opportunity.
I'm not sure I understand.
Qatar.
Qatar saw it as a opportunity to find more goods for himself, and I'm sure any good businessman won't give up on particularly being able to trade if possible.
My only worry is that even if we complete this for him, even if we manage to do everything and whatever's going on with the ship, and oh my goodness, we're so screwed. What's to stop him from instantly turning around and turning me in?
There isn't
Again.
too many what ifs.
Why we have to take them as they come.
You're all very confusing with the what ifs. Like we know what we know, and we already have a plan. And I know I'm new and I don't understand a lot of things because I'm young and stuff. But we're gonna rest and try and get the olive branch like Racha suggested, and go from there. I think that's all we can do, right?
I don't believe, even if we complete this contract, that we have anything to offer Qatar that would make up for what we just unleashed. Even if he does view it as an opportunity to further himself, we have absolutely nothing to offer him that'd be worth more than Nori's bounty, or to make up for that. We should just leave.
People get lost at sea a lot, don't they?
Depends on the location, depends on the people, depends on a lot of things. Technically,
I've
yeah,
made
people get lost all the time.
I've gotten lost before.
Yes, you have.
What's to stop me from getting lost again?
I pretty much already consider all of you lost.
Pretty much.
Not quite TPK, but lost is close enough.
if in any case, Qatar did say that there were some valuable items on the ship that he was emptying out. They might hold some unseen power that we don't know of. It sounds like there's some magic on the ship that's protecting it. If not for the sake of fulfilling the contract, it is least for the sake of finding an item that may help us in the future with any problems that we may come across. If Qatar decides to backpedal on his deal, then we must just assess the situation as it goes and prepare for the worst. But if he does work with us here, then we may have a situation where we could hopefully have one less enemy to deal with at this time.
It all just feels so small now.
Why should we test it though? If Qatar decides to backpedal on his deal, I doubt we'd have much chance in stopping him.
But
The
we're also
less-
in the ocean.
The less we leave to risk right now, the better.
We're ultimately in his domain. If he feels so much as to kill us now, he could have just came right behind us and murdered us.
As you say that, I'm just kidding.
Don't you
Should've done it
Not
already.
cool, motherfucker.
I already
Uh,
know we're screwed. You don't need to make it worse.
Richard, in response to Saren, says, should have done it already. And then won't refuse. And you can see he's like very frustrated with himself because he knows he can't talk well. And he's somebody to trust.
Do you mean that he would still take the items because they're still valuable to him?
He'll nod and then sort of gesture towards Nori. 750 mithril, I think. And then he'll just sort of should have done it already.
Oh. I think maybe Richard is saying that, like, if he wanted to turn you in, he could have just done it already instead of giving us the contract and sending us out here. That he could have done it.
And you could still do it at any time.
He could have sent the Elven Armada after us. He pinpointed us here. He would have been able to tell them, hey, she's out here, so...
They could also be waiting back at shore for us.
It could be. Yes.
Yep, they could be. But Richard does have a point. That is something to consider. That he didn't have to go through all of this farce. And from what I know, from what Valar told me about him before, like, he's not the kind that would do, like, lies and deceit. He doesn't need to. He just will do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. So I don't think that he would send us out and about and then be, like, deceitful and like hatching a plan on the side. He doesn't need to, from what I remember of what I was told when I was younger.
What kind of farce do you think he's gone through? We gave him the opportunity for a day off and we took it and then we fucked it up. There was no side plot. We just fucked it up.
No, and
now we
Rachel
should
will
be
actually pipe up and say, no, not fucked up. Opportunity, and he'll just sort of address it. Ungrateful bastard should be thanking us.
We gave him a new opportunity for artifacts. I'm assuming, or because that Kaporan understands that he gave us his deadline was the end of his workday, which is high noon. So we're not necessarily out of it yet. We're falling behind right now, and we need to get going to get this done. Or if not, hightail it out here, but without our horses, and it's right in front of Qatar's house, we're gonna have to go back to his living area before we move anywhere. So if we come empty-handed and one of them see us, we will probably be killed on the spot on the site. But if we at least come back with items to offer, we may be able to worm our way out of it yet.
Yeah, I think that's what Racha was saying about the olive branch, and that yeah, we may have made things difficult, but again, if Qatar wanted to turn Nori in, why go through all of this contract and hullabaloo? Hullabaloo, that's a good word.
He's an ally for now.
Again, because he stood nothing to lose from letting us go. You talk about letting us do this as if it's some grand scheme of deception. It's a simple advantage for him.
Yeah,
Does he
exactly.
think?
So would turning Nori in for the reward. That
But
would be an advantage
they're
too.
not mutually exclusive. He could still do or have done both.
But
Doing
Go
one
back
does
to
not
shore, and he
make.
could have already called him.
yeah, I know. I understand. You both have said this already, but what I'm trying to say, I think what Racha is saying is that he could have done that already and he hasn't. So if I don't understand Racha, but I think what he's trying to say is worth considering. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that uh, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. Like, it seems like we're going in circles for no reason. I'm just saying what Racha is trying to say is worth considering, that he could have done it already and he hasn't. So maybe Racha has a point. He seems to be weirdly good at judging people so far.
It's nice to have a traveling buddy.
Rashi kind of giggles. I thank you, I think.
He just shakes his head no. Qatar.
Now I'm lost.
He wants to make friends with Qatar. If
Oh.
at the very least, please Qatar. It is all viable that it could just blow up in our face. But at the same time, if we do not go back to our horses with something in hand, we are dead from the start. If we at least come back with something, it is bargaining chips, or it is maybe not even a bargaining chip, but something that we can work off of.
We're people of our word.
We lessen our options when we do not complete this task. If we can at least complete it, we open new avenues for ourselves. Born sounding like the most sophisticated person he's been like this whole session or this whole game, but
I'll just sort of gesture to everybody like as a collective and go, you don't know nothing. And including himself kind of thing in the gesture. Wing it from there.
I agree with Utra. We will do what we can now and deal with things as they come along.
Well, I always try to plan for things, and so far, none of them have worked. So I guess at this point, time to be a little bit more spontaneous, I guess.
Ooh, Nori's spontaneous. I'm expecting something later.
Saren just looks very much dead inside and is done trying to convince the group of a smart course of action.
What he thinks is a smart course of action. What he thinks is a smart course of action.
Excuse you, there's no explosive reaction to his thoughts in Saren's head, so.
What he thinks is a smart course of action.
All right, so
Yes.
what are we doing?
Bedtime.
All right. With water breathing enabled, you guys can find yourselves to sleep down here. Though, without anything to weigh you down efficiently. You guys have all been kind of reverse treading water down here while discussing.
Can we go inside a boat and just kind of tie ourselves down? We have
Yeah.
rope.
I mean, you can basically just go inside a boat and let yourself drift up to the to the roof.
True.
But
Better than floating away.
yeah, which I mean, you've got all the ship graveyard and the two elven ships to sit in.
Well, I couldn't sense anything alive in either of them. So besides fish. So let's just go in and sleep.
Okay, are you guys going in the
Or for the one with the built-in.
so the north ship?
Whichever one Nori only sensed fish coming out of.
Oh, they both
yes,
had fish.
well,
Which are hungry.
I think Racha would then head towards the sliced one.
Okay, so the middle ship, or the southern ship now, because the other third ship left.
That's the one with the weird hole in it.
Yes, a very specific circular cut into the side of the ship. Overall, this hole has a radius of about 60 feet.
Racha would do as thorough of an investigation as he can to make sure and sweep at least a general spot that he could feel safe enough to have everybody bed down, kind of thing.
Okay, go ahead and give me an investigation check. Anyone who wants to take a look while you're in here, go ahead and roll perception checks. For Racha, as far as finding a safe enough place to sleep, with the large gaping hole in the side of the ship, which takes up about 2/3 of this ship, lengthwise, it's a bit precarious, a little precarious, of situational planning, but it does look to be some sort of storeroom at the front bow of the ship, roughly a third deck down, probably used for imperishable items. It's at least a big enough and still mostly sealed room that would give you all protection from floating away if need be. So everyone in their perception checks, looking around, this ship does seem to have been picked clean. Things that did reside probably wherever they were on this ship have been tossed open, cracked open. Different things have been pulled from wherever they were probably nailed or fastened to along the sides. Looking over the ship, what would be, I guess, considered the captain's quarters has been cracked into and stuff torn and thrown around. No real small things still exist anywhere. It's very, large pieces of broken furniture, barrels cracked open. No real semblance. I mean, you got little bits of broken dagger or probably broken blade of some sort, but beyond that, there seems to be no metal left on this ship itself, and it's a graveyard. Plenty of bones sprinkle the bottom of the floor, resting in the sand as well as inside the boat itself. It's quiet, awkwardly quiet, after all the bickering and all the intenseness that you've dealt with today so far. But Racha shows you all to the small storage room at the bow on the third deck. It's tight, probably enough for you all to sleep in, minus a single person, so probably whoever's on watch is going to have to be outside, but it should do.
As we go to start the long rest, Racha would approach Saren and just sort of kind of like with a more of a backbone than he's ever really had before. He'll just sort of like hold up one hand and go, hurt people that way, and then hold up the other hand as with his other, and sort of like act like he's weighing options. He's like, hurt people that way. It's nice to have a traveling buddy.
With what we summon back to the world, we've done more than hurt people. We've done something unspeakable,
I agree.
unforgivable.
I agree. Wing it from there.
Saren silent.
And Racha will take at least one of the watches, probably one of the first ones, just to sort of make sure we're at least relatively safe in the first couple hours.
All right. So if you all want to take long rests, I'm going to need a total of 4 watches.
I can do one.
I'm gonna do one too.
Rashi will take a watch.
Nori has the best. Wait, what is everyone's perceptions?
8.
I have a +6, and I'm proficient in it.
Okay. Kaporn will join Bryn on her watch, unless Nori pipes up. But
Are we sharing watches, or are we just going to do one person at Actually, it's smarter to do 2 people at a time.
If that's the case, one person's going to have to do a single watch.
I was going to say 2 people have to do a single watch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Because
Saren's not joining a watch.
I mean, I think down here, I don't know if we necessarily have to do 2 watches, though, since we're so far down.
I think Kaporn was
need-
just doing it to give advantage.
yeah,
Oh, okay. That's
So then, yeah, we have the 4 then. It would be me, then Nori, then Bryn and Kapar, and then Rashi, I guess, because that was how we sort of announced ourselves.
Okay.
That works.
yeah, sure. I mean, I don't care when Rashi takes a watch, so it's fine.
All right. So with that, you all have an interesting bedding up, really, as you guys get into the storage room, and as your breathing starts to slow down and the oxygen starts to build up in your blood, it does give you a slight float, and you all gently start making your way over the span of about 5 to 10 minutes, slowly. It's an interesting sight for Racha, as he kind of like constantly checks in on everybody, and they're just like a good foot higher in the water, a foot higher, until they're all just like smushed up against the top of the room here. But Racha, go ahead and give me a perception check. You take your watch, keeping an eye out, your mind kind of wandering and thinking about everything that's happened. The cobra kind of flashes into your mind a few times. But you, keeping a watch, getting a little jittery. A fish swims out of a piece of seaweed off in the distance. You're got yourself all ready, kind of like getting ready to pull a dagger. And then you kind of calm down. You hear a little whoosh behind you. You're like, calm down again. By the end of your watch, you've gotten a little bit used to the just ambiance noises of just regular sea life that happens. It's definitely a biome you guys aren't familiar with, so the regular goings on kind of puts everyone on edge when things are quiet. But the end of your watch comes. No real interesting tidbits happen during yours. And you go to wake Nori.
He'll sort of, as he wakes her up, he'll say, "Your turn." I'm
All right.
sorry.
I know. And then I'm gonna go out to do my watch.
Perception check. You two go through the small process of being a little jittery on your watch as fish and sea life kind of just moves around you without any real distinction on the time of day. Life just is constantly in motion down here. It's cold. Not unbearably so. At least not yet. You keep an eye out, and though some larger fish do make their way close to you guys, they can sense you and keep their distance. Other than that, your watch goes by pretty uneventfully until you're starting to feel the drag, and you know it's time for next watch.
Go wake up Bryn and Caparin.
You want to do advantage or you want to roll separately?
We can both roll, I guess.
Okay.
With there being two of you, you're a little less on edge. Though the very first few couple things does kind of set your alarm bells ringing and you guys prepare for it. It's just sea life. And you guys calm down a little bit more since you're able to talk to one another. And though you guys keep a vigilant watch, it's comforting having someone else on watch with you. Bryn, it's about halfway through your watch when something off in the distance just seems weird. Not sure what it is, but almost like a faint bit of light's not the right word, almost like refraction of light. Kind of in a column that seems to rise up farther than you can see. This is a ways off in the distance, so you're getting the sense that this is probably a decently thick column of whatever it is that's going on off in the distance. If you had to guess it, probably about 1,000 feet or so off in the darkness. So it's got to be decently bright enough for you to be able to see it down here at this distance. And it's got to be big enough for it to really shine through. But you see it there. It seems to be stationary. You check on it about 10 minutes later, and it seems to have slightly moved. From this distance, you can't tell if it's getting closer or further. But you give it your attention. And then another 10 minutes or so, you're kind of like mentally marking it where it's at. Because just staring at it, you wouldn't really be able to tell if it's moving, because it'd be a constant thing. So you kind of just keep looking back at it every now and again. You point this out to Caparin as well. As by the third time you look at it, it seems to have marginally moved. Again, unsure of the direction, if it's getting closer or further, but it's at least still as visible as when you first saw it. But by that time, you're reaching the end of your watch.
And when we go up to get Rashi, then I would just mention it so Rashi can keep an eye on it as well, I guess.
So with the changing of the guards for the watch, Rashi, go ahead and give me a perception check. Luckily, she pointed it out to you, and you lose it every now and again. It's very hard to see, especially with how tired you are. But nevertheless, you pick it up again and again throughout your watch. It does seem to be moving, at least in your situational awareness, from right to left. Again, not sure if it's moving closer or further away. But the end of your watch does come without any other interruptions. And it comes down to that. That is the last watch, correct? So this would be the time that first Saren wakes before everyone else, but within time, everyone else starts to rouse as well. Bryn, go ahead and give me a perception check. Consistent. As you wake up, a nagging dream had been playing over and over in your head, slightly worrisome. It's more of just your innate worry that fueled not so much a nightmare, but just a nagging bit of it. Luckily, you've got enough sleep to get a long rest, so everyone can click long rest, by the way. But it definitely wasn't the most relaxing of sleeps. It's almost as if your body slept, but your mind continued on. And the first thing you do when you wake up is look for that thing, whatever it was. Getting out of the storage room and peeking your head up, you see it visibly. It's much closer. If at first it started at about 1,000 feet, you're probably looking at 600 to 500 now. It is pretty wide. Probably, whatever this thing is, 10 feet thick. You're not sure really about as far as light goes, if it's an origination point or a refraction, but it does seem to be getting closer to some degree.
I know it's far away, but is there can you see any fish going through it or anything like that?
That far away, it's a 10-foot diameter large column of something, and that's how you're able to see it. Other than that, you're not able to see small things around it.
Yeah, I figured. Just had to ask the question.
Does it look like it or does it look like the column goes all the way to the ground?
From what you can tell, it looks like it goes all the way from the top to the bottom.
Okay.
Is it coming from the direction of like the rock pillar, or is it so like the center of the circles were?
No, it looked like it came from not the center, somewhere out between the ships. At least when Bryn points out where she first saw it to where it is now. So as far as on roll 20 goes,
Kaporan would mention to Bryn, like, do you think it could be that ship from earlier?
I don't know if it's the ship from earlier. It might be someone looking for us. If they are, they wouldn't it? If it's someone looking for us, it might be Qatar, since he knows we're probably around here. Just searching through the boats.
Best if we keep our eye on it then. After kind of like stirring awake and whatnot, and kind of getting moving, Kaporan would. You said there's like about 30 feet in between ships?
the two Elven Armada ships, was about 70 feet of open sand between the two.
Okay.
And you said this thing was moving left to right, so it was going both directions or just the one direction?
During your watch, it was going right to left.
Okay.
But now that you wake up and you see it, so the further away X is where you first saw it originate, and it was moving right to the left. And now that you woke up, this is roughly the direction that you see it.
So I guess.
So it looked like it might have zigzagged.
From when I kept seeing it, it was going in a straight line, though. It looked like it wasn't zigzagging or anything.
It wasn't getting any closer or further, so you guess it's some sort of straight line.
Okay.
If saw her, and then he'll point in the direction that you said it started, and it's like, you got to start somewhere. Boat?
If it is Qatar, yes. He might have started it where what we needed to look for was. Maybe thinking that we found it. So that might be where that boat is, though not sure if he is searching. If it is him, not sure if we want him to be found. Be searching this way.
In any case, we may want to get moving. I do want to check out this other ship first before we head out in any direction, but just to make sure our quarries aren't with this ship. So with that, Kaporan would, unless anyone stops him, would head over to the other ship, the Elven ship.
Are we within? Yeah, we would be. Okay. Never mind. I was gonna do something, but I lost all my spells except for the 3.
Rachel would be going with Caparin if we start taking off.
You didn't miss much, Rashi. We're moving off to the other ship. Ooh, it's a pink ship.
Okay.
So you guys were
cool.
spending the night in the blue ship and moving to the pink ship would be the other one.
Yes, please.
All right. So, as a group, you all make your way over, some helping Kaporn move a little bit faster. But you all make your way there. As Kaporn told you all prior, you see a skeleton that seems to almost look like he's hugging the wheel itself, the helm. But something seems to be impaled into its back, pinning it against the helm. Looking at it, it's hard to figure out what exactly the fuck this is. It's not a sword. It's not a javelin or pike or anything along those natures. It almost looks like a big shard of something. Not exactly sure what. It's black and slate grayish looking. It comes to a point, which is in this poor soul's chest, that is pinned up against the helm. But as it comes out of the back, it expands a little bit and kind of curves the very end where it looks to have been broken off. At the largest portion of it, which it's not cylindrical in nature, but it's rounded. It measures about a foot wide at the very largest portion, but it skinnies down to the point that is in this guy's chest.
Would it be a fair comparison to what the original 4 people would know as Jade Port?
No, it does not look like that.
Gotcha.
Richa, you probably would have the best knowledge for this. Kind of looking at the material that it seems to be created out of. It's interesting. It's semi-familiar. Looking at it, looking at how it's broken and the graininess of it. It reminds you a lot of like a broken talon. At least of the same sort of material. Broken claw, maybe?
Horn pokes it.
And it's
Okay.
like... and it's like... how long of a... Like, how much is it sticking out of his chest?
Altogether, from its very point, which you're guessing is in the helm, its length is rivaling about 5 feet.
If I try to move the skeleton, can I try to move the skeleton?
One moment, please.
Have we not learned to stop touching weird shit at the boat, like fronts of ships?
Yeah, we just.
We're at the
no
back
more-
of the boat this time, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Different. The horn's poking the skeleton to see what this. Just try to move it around.
I suppose at this point, Saren will start ritual casting detect magic, which will take 10 minutes.
While they're messing with the skeleton, Bryn's just gonna keep an eye on the light thing every so often, trying to track it again but not stare at it.
You take 37 points of force damage.
Wow. Okay.
As you touch the back of this, you all feel and see as a jet cone of energy kind of ricochets back, throwing Kaporin 70, 80 feet back up into the water. Luckily, he doesn't collide with anything because he's in the water. But a just massive cone of force exudes off in his direction. I would say everyone would be smart enough to not be behind Kaporin when he touches stuff, so. But it is definitely loud, as you all can hear it. It is a large bit of movement in the water, and silt and sand, and the smaller, not so hardened moss and crustaceans that have started to fuse themselves onto the ship all kind of shake off a little bit as this force wave goes off.
Khan's like covering his ears, like, the fuck?
If Kaporin could, he would be making R2D2 noises as he's flying away. But yeah, it's not the first time Kaporin's been flown off by force magic off of, for touching something. I'm gonna cast a level 3 healing word on myself.
Does the column of light change at all?
From this distance, it doesn't seem it's not making any like hard turns and magically coming towards you faster or anything. I can just hear Nori saying, "Oh, buddy." Mainly at the casting of the of the cure rather than the actual touching the thing.
I feel that pain. Oh.
Back where I started, basically.
So knowing now that shit might happen, he's not going to poke anything, but Richal will look and scout through the rest of
Feel free to, Richard.
the ship, and I imagine it kind of cracked a little bit or something because of that force.
Nope.
Ooh,
The ship
interesting.
is not cracked at all.
I would like to cast locate object on a glaive.
Okay. Casting the spell. Go ahead, Richard, give me an investigation check. Casting that spell. A glaive seems to be about 40 feet below you.
Below me? Where am I?
Inside the ship. I would say you're probably
Okay.
floating above the ship. Richard,
Alright.
you going down into the first deck?
Indicate so that he's not stealthing away this time and letting people know, like, I'm going inside.
Then I'm gonna follow Richard.
As you guys are starting to move down, you guys, with the fact of that force explosion going off and no cracking happening to the ship, you're actually looking at the ship and you're like, wait. Besides the sails and some of the rope being tattered, it's all in one piece. There is no destruction to this ship. Though you maybe initially thought, oh, the front end's broken off and this thing is... Nope, Richard, as you get down, you can see that the ship continues to a point where the bow probably exists. So this ship is fully intact. As you get down here, you see multiple bodies. Not skeletons, bodies. Each of these bodies seems to be run through, impaled, or pinning the bodies to different facets of the walls, the floor, masts, cargo. You're seeing glaives. You're seeing swords. all these items and objects in a body. Body does not look bloated or decayed in any way. But doing a quick rundown of this first deck and the list mentally that you're keeping of the things you need to find, probably about a good third of those items could be these items. You guys still have the list of the items you need, right?
I had it
haven't.
down.
So we need to get 13 swords, 5 pieces of full plate, 4 glaives, 3 boxes, small bit of bread box with, they're magical. We need to get access to the commander's quarters, 10 scrolls, a dagger, there's a secret compartment with something priceless.
And the rug is dangerous. I remember that.
I don't think it was just covering the secret compartment or something like that.
I think
no mention of the rug actually being dangerous was ever.
I thought Katara said something about the rug being like the hugging type or something like that.
No,
I might be
he just
completely.
said it was that it was under the floorboards and under the rug.
How dare my brain confuse me?
What do you guys want to? What do you guys want to do?
If he'd be careful about it.
You could use Mage Hand. Would that work? Or are they too embedded in a body?
He's actually gonna go back out and sort of tell the group and say it can hold up to 7 people comfortably.
I think I'm still ritual casting detect magic right now, so
I would assume by the time that everyone's done this, Caporn has swam back.
The end of your detect magic goes off, and it's kind of blinding to look around as everything exudes magic. Multiple different schools of magic, some specific items giving multiple schools. You're getting a lot of everything and anything.
I'm just gonna turn it off then. I don't wanna
Get a headache.
Yeah, especially with the majority of the ship being magical as well. Which lends itself to it not being destroyed.
Do I poke it?
What do you think the answer is?
I mean, it's an option.
Caporn just like no.
As far as so on the top deck, there are no bodies besides the one skeleton. On the first deck that you guys have started to move down into, there is 6 bodies on this deck. 5 of them seem to be impaled by some sort of weapon. Majority being swords and 1 glaive. One of them seems to be wearing full plate. And another person, or at least another body, you see is kind of like crumpled up and off in a corner, but you can't see if there's anything in it or on it or of it.
It's just weapons stuck in these bodies.
I feel like this is a trap.
It very much feels like a trap.
None of the bodies are decomposed, which I guess if everything's magical, maybe, but there's one skeleton, but then none of the other bodies are skeletons. That seems strange even to me.
And there are fish in here, right? Are they touching the bodies?
There's crustaceans. There's after that seismic blast. How many fish are staying in the immediate vicinity? So
But-
unfortunately, no fish are coming into the ship right this moment.
But even a crustacean would likely take advantage of free food at the bottom of the ocean, wouldn't they?
Yeah, There's crustaceans across the floor and on the walls, but not on any of the bodies.
I'm going to pick up one of the crabs and I'm going to put it, like, hold it above one of the bodies and then drop it on the body.
You do so, and it get it ready and drop, and it. You're like, fuck, I should have thought about this and put it a little bit closer. Bloop. It just rolls off the body.
Drop it on the weapon.
Just drop the crab again. I guess I dropped the crab on the weapon again. Sorry, buddy.
A little bit closer this time, but you drop it on the weapon. It kind of tumbles and just as it's spinning now, falling to the deck. And remember, everything's down at an angle like this.
Right.
There we go. So everything that you're doing is falling forward in front of you as far as like perception goes of you guys standing in the first deck.
Chaw's gonna like just hold up his lantern and be like, "My tree friend here," and bring out the mage hand, and then sort of like look around at everybody and be like, "Do I poke it?"
Warren's like, that seems safe enough.
Theron casts Mage Hand and grabs one.
Nori casts Mage Hand and also grabs one.
Oh yeah, you guys grabbing different ones or the same one? Because they can only pull 5 pounds, right?
Yeah, I will actually more or less use mine to poke the nearest body over and over again to see if it'll make any sort of animation.
I mean, besides it slowly, like slightly moving in the water from the poke, nothing happens.
But there's no sign of any
carry-
animals eating them.
Nope.
They can carry up to 10 pounds each.
Okay, 10 pounds. Okay. What are you going for, a sword or a glaive?
It's Mage Hand, so I'll go lighter with the sword.
Okay. 3 swords of people that are pinned to the walls. 1 sword is pinned to the floor, and the glaive is pinned to a center column beam.
He mostly just wants to look like he's doing something, so no one talks to him.
Oh, I can't pull this one out. My mage hand isn't strong enough.
Can we do?
Oh no!
But yeah, Rajah would just sort of the whatever body he was poking after he tests its livability will try and yank out the sword that's in it.
Okay. Nor are you sending your mage hand off?
Yeah, just grab a sword, I guess.
Okay. As you guys have your mage hands trying to pull out swords, they wiggle. They do a little bit of maneuvering, kind of jostling the bodies that they're pinned with, but nothing besides that. They're not strong enough to pull them out.
Would
Well,
2 Mage Hands be able to take it out?
You can certainly try.
One push, one pull.
It's the my mage hand will be on the back of the blade. Hers is grabbing the hilt.
Yes.
Well, the back of the blade is like in wood, so it's not like it goes through the wood. It just pins it.
I figured it was like, so it's all the way up to the hilt in the wall,
No.
like into the body.
No, I'm saying that like the blade doesn't extend past whatever wood the body is pinned to. So yeah, there's blade that extends out from. Case in point, the body that's on the left is pinned with his back up against the wall. The sword extends out from his chest, but the blade doesn't go through the wood behind him. It just gets stuck in it.
Gotcha. So the sword is just in the corpse. It's not in the boat.
It's a little, just the tip is in the boat. Just the tip.
Cool. Yeah, then he'll just help with it regardless.
Okay. Unfortunately, it wiggles. The body shifts as well, but it's not strong enough to pull the blade out.
You said the glaive is in the middle, in a pillar?
Yes, in the large wooden pillar that runs down the length of the ship. Runs down the middle of the ship, sorry.
Or kind of like...
The bottom of the mast, basically.
Okay. Kaporin like undoes his belt or something and kind of like wraps it around the hilt and just like tugs, trying to get it to like pop off.
Make an athletics check.
Kaporin doesn't want to touch anything directly anymore. Athletics, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
For Kaporin, that's great.
It is.
So, taking the belt and wrapping it through the handle and trying to yank it out, you start to feel a little bit of give. You're wiggling it, and it's in there, tightly, but you're starting to feel it move side to side a little bit smoother, and you're just about to get it, and you are able to pull the sword out, or the glaive, sorry, out of the chest of this creature. And the glaive kind of floats in the air in front of you. The creature, with his back up against the mast, is still there.
Kaporin kind of just goes to reach for it, and yeah, he goes to grab the glaive and kind of sees if he can hold on to it without nothing happening.
Okay. Glaive looks to be well made, hasn't been destroyed whatsoever. Saren, with your detect magic, you know that this glaive is probably magical in some sense. Slight enchantment to it. It's well balanced, well kept, looks nice, has interesting weight properties being underwater with it. So you can deal with it now with your limited strength, but maybe not be the best tool for you to have while on land. But holding it looks pretty nice.
Okay.
Have fun.
If it's not like overbearing, I'm sorry.
Looking at it, it feels good in your hands. Feels real good. You really like this glaive. There's other people with you, though. They might take the glaive from you.
Wait. Uh-huh. I'm listening. Sorry.
You don't want that. This glaive is yours now. You came down here, you got it. They trying to use their mage hands to take this out. You used your physical self to do it. You threw caution to the wind to get this glaive. This glaive is yours now. These guys are going to take all the glory. Go back to Qatar. Oh, yeah, we took the glaive out. Shouldn't let that happen. I'm going to turn you in. I'm going to say you're the one that made the ship appear. But most of all, I'm going to take this glaive away from you. I think maybe if they're not looking, they're all still paying attention to the swords. This glaive, it's a nice weapon. If you were fast enough, you could probably get at least 2 of them before they even know what's going on. Yeah. Let's see. Let's look around. Maybe who should be first? Well, Cha and Nori are over that side. Saren and Bryn there. Rashi's... we can deal with Rashi. We should get the Warlocks first. Trentemir's probably your biggest threat. Maybe make a distraction. All of the rest of you see Kaporin just kind of sliding his hand up and down the glaive. And you're hearing a voice speaking these inner thoughts. It's not Kaporin speaking these thoughts. It's the body he pulled the glaive out of. you've seen that this body's eyes have opened and its mouth is talking, saying all these thoughts. Kaporan, you're not thinking this. You're actually being told this by this body. You all slowly turn around to see this body slowly walking up the deck towards Kaporan, who is unaware that it's slowly moving forward. It reaches out, and Kaporan, without even looking and seeing or second guessing, just extends the glaive out towards this individual, who grasps it. At that moment in time, Saren, Nori, each of the two swords you're trying to pull out with your mage hands, and Richa, as you're helping Nori as well, you see the bodies of those individuals open their eyes, grab the handles of the swords, pull them out of themselves, and start mouthing the same words that the one who now has the glaive is saying. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh no!
Sweet, I actually get to use Turn Undead. Woohoo!
Ooh.
If they're undead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
if they're undead. They could've just
Yeah,
been
but
in
you don't-
stasis.
But you don't know until you try Turn Undead
Yep.
if they're actually undead.
You don't know till you know. Alright, guys.
Ah.
See, we called it. We knew it was a trap, of some kind. Like, these bodies aren't decomposed, really? Okay.
Okay. So any questions?
God damn it for Kaporan being so strong today. For some odd, strange reason.
Oh, you didn't have to touch it afterwards.
Yeah, that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have lots of questions, but you're not going to answer any of them. So
Any questions that I can answer?
No, you can answer them. You just won't.
um,
Uh,
does that count like as being charmed?
Nope.
It doesn't even count as being charmed.
Nope.
Okay.
As like I said, there was no save to it.
That's true.
Yay, we found the ship.
we found it.
Well, no one checked
I'm
the
glad we
captain's
took a
quarters to
rest.
see if it was sealed, so you don't know if it's the same ship.
I'm pretty sure it's the
Okay.
ship. I'm pretty sure.
We've just got to fight some dead bodies.
Any questions, guys?
How fucked are we on a scale from 1 to 10?
On a scale of 1 to 20, you're about 14.
Oh, we had to
Oh.
move forward. Okay.
Okay, that's. I mean, he
Well,
moved the
that's-
scale to 20, so
That's
shit.
the level that I thought you guys were going to be when you actually encountered these things.
Oh dear.
Wait, the ship or the creatures right now?
Everything.
Oh no.
Son of a biscuit.
Thanks, Val.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate this.
So you guys had to go find Qatar. You had to had to do
I'm
that.
sorry, Saren was the only person who said no to this.
It's true. Yeah, no, he was
Go,
just like,
guys.
no.
I'm going on the record.
Yeah, no.
Oh dear.
All right,
Or
guys.
we don't want to go with the "it was all a bad dream" plot.
Yeah, I'd like that plot.
If only the woodpecker size.
Kaporan's actually Kaporan's actually unconscious right now because of the force damage, and just imagine this whole scenario.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh no! Even farther back than that. Kaporan.
That makes it a shared hallucination though, because we all
I
saw
would rather
you
have that.
with the sword. So
Kaporan actually has fallen off his horse on his way to after getting shot by Saren in the hand, and now
This is Saren's dream in the cave as he's a prisoner.
that would be an interesting one.
Actually, I did have I forgot my question already.
Thanks, Val. Thank you.
Yeah.
great. Now I'm gonna have nightmares. Thanks. Thanks so much. I hate underwater fights, and they give me nightmares. So this will be fun. 3 days.
Saren, if you end up thinking about it, you can just message me, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Well,
I have plenty of stuff I got DM that I don't want the rest of them to know about.
Oh my goodness.
Well, feel free to message me, guys, if you do come up with any questions. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. If I don't talk to you all before then, have a great rest of the week. And we will reconvene on Thursday.
all right. See you everyone Thursday.
Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night.
Night, guys.
Thank you all for those that came to hang out with us. You have a great night, and we'll see you all Thursday. Actually, he flips the conversation. He goes, I've noticed a little thing between you and Brett.
What?
Nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
just a little thing between you and Bryn.
What?
Nothing, nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.